this with you today because this has been a game changer for me. Looking at emotions on a different way, or in a different way, so that you can better manage them. You hear people talk about it all the time. Control your emotions, control your emotions. No, you never, ever, ever want to control your emotions. You want to manage your emotions. Emotional suppression will kill you, literally. How many times have we heard of people dying of a random heart attack, or older couples, sometimes you see them, if one of the partner dies, then the other one dies shortly after, and they say they might have died of a broken heart or things like that. All of this stuff, emotional suppression, can literally kill you, okay? So we don't want to control them or confine them or not feel. We just want to be able to manage them a little bit better and understand them, so that we're not taken through a whirlwind and not even realizing what's happening, okay? So our first point is, you are not your emotions, okay? Emotions are definitely real, but they are not your identity. So a lot of times when we feel emotions, we'll say, oh, I'm upset, we'll say, oh, I'm pissed, I'm angry, I'm sad. And when you say I am, no, you're not. You are not those things. You feel anger, you feel sadness, you feel depression, but they are not you. So let's make sure that we are rephrasing our language, okay? So instead of saying I am sad, say I feel sadness right now, and because of A, B, C, and D, which we'll have another workshop specifically on emotional intelligence, which directly ties into this. And those small shifts, what happens is those small shifts in your language, it creates distance between you and your emotions, okay? And when you can create that distance, it opens the doors for you to have a moment, to have that wisdom and control over your actions, so that you're not reacting and then in a further whirlwind of what's happening, okay? Now, y'all know, in addition to the book, I always have to have my references. So there is a scripture, Ephesians 4:26, and it says, "Be ye angry and sin not. Let the sun not go down upon your wrath." So essentially, God is saying, okay, you're supposed to be angry. You're not supposed to be angry, but it's natural for you to be angry. A lot of times we feel emotions and we're like, oh, like I feel bad because I'm angry and I'm feeling this. I know Tisha had a situation with her sister-in-law a while back, and she was upset, and she felt bad that she was upset. And I'm like, no, it's natural for you to feel anger. It's natural for you to have questions. It's natural for you to be like, man, like, God, like, what's going on? But the trick is having those emotions, experiencing those emotions, but not letting it turn into sin, not getting upset and literally flipping over the table. Because I know a couple times you want to flip over something or throw something, or have some choice words with people, but making sure that we can control those actions that come after the emotions, okay? God isn't asking us not to feel. He's asking us to manage how we respond to what we feel, okay? Point 2, emotions are indicators, not identity. I'm going to say that again so you can write it down if you're taking notes. Emotions are indicators, not identity. Emotions always point to something deeper, okay? Emotions are warning signs. So the next time you're feeling an intense emotion, ask yourself, what is the emotion trying to teach me, okay? Emotions a lot of times tell you what you care about. And sometimes you may find out that you care about stuff that you like, I don't even care. Like, you feeling this arrogance, this ego, and you're like, well, that doesn't even bother me because, y'all doing this. And it's like, yeah, but if you're feeling some kind of way, you do care, okay? This is a time for you to self-analyze and say, okay, is my emotions, or are my emotions rooted in pride? Are they rooted in fear? Or are they rooted in insecurity? Or is it a true injustice that I'm experiencing that is causing me to feel whatever emotions that I'm feeling, okay? Proverbs 4:20-23 says, "Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life," okay? So when you guard your heart, you're not ignoring your emotions, but you're essentially filtering them wisely, right? Filtering them wisely so that you can have an overall better life, because you're not just moving impulsively and having, now instead of just the emotion that turned into a situation, and you've gone down the rabbit hole, and you hitting your toe then turn into a whole day, whole week, whole month of sadness, being upset, depression, right? And then also filtering it wisely, because realizing those emotions, those things you feel, if you're not managing them wisely, they can have a direct effect on your health. I see it all the time. People like, I'm doing everything and my weight isn't moving as fast as I want to. I'm trying to get down. Not just this, it could be other things you're eating, maybe you got to a point where your body's used to the exercises you're doing or something like that. But one that we don't think about a lot is stress. Stress affects your body. Stress makes you hold on to that weight a little bit more. Stress produces hormones that make you hold on to the weight a little bit more. So the next time you find yourself getting ticked off, be like, oh, I gotta calm down. I gotta get this weight off of me, okay? I gotta get this together. No. Who wants a gut because you can't get over being angry? Oh no. If I'm gonna have a gut, I want it to be because I had one of them caramel cookies that Tisha had. Not because I'm stressed out, because I'm in a situation and I haven't learned how to manage my emotions, right? So keep that in mind. Point number 3. All right, choose the feminine response. Write that down if you have a pen. Number 3, choose the feminine response. All right, a soft and wise woman channels her emotions. She does not explode, but she also does not suppress. She uses tone, body language, and timing to deliver the truth, to express her feelings with grace. Okay, so while we don't want to explode, we don't want to suppress either. Again, we'll go into the emotional intelligence part a little bit deeper, maybe not next week, but soon, so that we can have more details on how to do it. If you're in that intense situation and you're like going crazy, like what do you do? How do you, in your head, you're like, okay, I need to chill out, but what do you do, right? So we'll talk about that a little bit deeper as well. I'll give you an example. When I felt disrespected, I had to choose to respond with wisdom or to react with wrath. Y'all know I just had a baby. Those hormones and stuff, they're a little bit different, right? They're a little bit different. And things that may have previously been like, I might have rolled my eyes, I've been feeling them like 1,000 times more. And remember I was talking about flipping over that table earlier? That was not just me saying something. Like I've actually wanted to like full-blown deadlift tables at times and flip it over and then kick it and be like, ah, right? But I can't do that. Because Micah gonna put me on the plane and send me back to Atlanta and be like, this girl is out of her mind, right? So having those times where you can like, okay, I'm feeling intense emotions right now, choosing, say, okay, in this moment I am going to choose to not react, but to respond in a way that ultimately gets me to my desired outcome, right? A lot of times when we react, we're reacting based off of emotions, and the way we react puts us further away from the desired outcome we want. Another example, if you were in an argument or a situation with your spouse and significant other, and they're just going, and you say, oh my gosh, can you just shut up? Yes, Teresa, you can ask questions. Yeah, you definitely can ask questions. So if y'all have a question, go ahead and put up your hand, and then you can ask questions in the middle, and then we'll have a time, if we have time at the end, for questions at the end. So yeah, go ahead and ask your questions during, and then we can go through like that. Yeah, but making sure that you are taking a step back, right? Because if you react, if you're having those moments where you're reacting is distancing you from the outcome. If I go in a situation and I'm telling him and I'm like, can you shut up? Guess what that does? That further divides us. And really, I just needed a hug. All I wanted him to respond was with a hug. Me saying, oh my gosh, can you shut up? Now that has caused even more division. It has gotten me away from my desired outcome. If you want peace, there's certain things that you can and you cannot say to get to the desired outcome. Again, we'll go deeper on that. Teresa, you can go ahead and take yourself off mute.
Hello, I have a question. This is in God's timing because I'm literally dealing with something right now that I am trying to handle with grace. My oldest daughter has a different dad than my husband, and he isn't always on time with child support, and there's always excuses, blah, blah, blah. So I've been paying everything for her graduation and her 18th birthday coming up. And it's like, I just yesterday got another excuse as to why he can't pay child support, he can't do what he's supposed to be doing. And I just want to cuss him out, but I know it's not going to get me anywhere because it's just going to cause me to go into a version of myself I don't want to be. And I know this addressing it isn't going to do anything. So it's like, what do you do with that? It's like, I'm just like, you know, talking to my husband about it. You know, he is basically their father. And so it's like, he gets frustrated but that he's not stepping up as a man. But it's like, we just talk to each other about it, but it's like, I just want to say something to him, but I know it's not going to get through it. So how do you handle that femininity way of like, like I want to stop you, but I know I can't.
So my suggestion is, especially if you are in person or you're on the phone and something is said, take a second, just pause, just stop, okay? Even if they're still talking, just take a second, because if you keep talking or you let it come, it's more than likely going to be that reaction piece versus the wise piece that could potentially get you to your desired outcome. Another suggestion would be is say your truth and the facts, right? So you don't have to necessarily get him together or curse him out or anything, but say, hey, this is what I need of you. This is what I expect. This is what's happening, so that you've done your part. So nobody can say, oh, I didn't know, or you didn't tell me. You've done your part. Now, what that person chooses to do with the information that you've shared, communicated, etc., that's on them. But at least you've done your part and you've communicated it in a clear way. Clear, effective, without intense, crazy emotion way. Because not saying anything, it kind of, now it's on both of you guys, right? And I know you're probably like, how many times do I have to say something? Like what you know, like, you know what your responsibilities are. So definitely bringing it up, but then after that, just kind of letting it be.
Okay. All right. That's what I did yesterday. I didn't respond because he had texted me. I had asked where it was. He gave me all of these excuses, and then I just wanted to be like, well, I'm paying for this and I'm paying for that, and I don't get the choice. So then I just like, nope, let me not do that. Let me just pause, and then I have to kind of come up with a better way of, you know, stating the facts and responding. Okay, so I'm just gonna put it back to you and have
yes. At least to make the point. Exactly. You are very welcome, Teresa. Let's see. I'm going to read the scripture again. I don't know if I skipped over it or not, but I'm going to go here just in case, okay? Proverbs 31:26. She opened her mouth with wisdom, and her tongue is the law of kindness, okay? So we always talk about Proverbs 31 as our outline for being a feminine and fit woman. This one is kind of intense. Her tongue is the law of kindness, like the law. Oof, that's kind of intense, okay? So it basically tells us that a wise woman doesn't just feel deeply, but she also speaks very strategically. Okay, that's fine, Miss Sherry. And then we'll have it recorded as well. So our point number 4 is strategic emotional language. All right. Your words shape your reality. The way we speak about our emotions influence how we experience them. So like I was telling you guys before, another example, I am anxious versus I am feeling some anxiety, but it'll pass. So make sure that you're watching your words, how you use them, because they definitely shape how you experience, and it can sometimes go into a whirlwind on and on and on if you're not aware. So instead of I'm overwhelmed, this moment feels a little bit overwhelming, but I'm grounding myself and I am present in this very moment. All right. James 1:19-20. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let not a man be swift to hear, but slow to speak and slow to wrath. All right. Let me break that down a little bit easier. I thought I did this upgraded. All right, y'all. If the call cuts off, just jump right back on. I thought I had already upgraded this. All right. So basically, what that is saying is, be quiet and listen. Listen. A lot of times when our emotions are kicking in and it's intense emotions, we want to say what we want to say, and we want to prove that you're wrong, I'm right, you hurt me, you're doing something wrong, but we don't take the time to listen a lot of times. So quickly quiet it down, listen. That second of listening, when you're listening, don't listen to respond, okay? Listen to gain understanding, especially if it's somebody that's worth having a relationship with, right? If it's your partner, even your kid's father, those are relationships that have to be there. So it pays to sometimes listen to gain understanding, even if we feel like we already know it's the same old thing, right? Being slow to speak, and then also slow to anger, to have wrath, because a lot of times we feel those little, burst of annoyance, irritation, but try not to let yourself get into full anger mode. Definitely experience those emotions, right? But don't let it continue to build and fester and go on and on and on. All right. Your mouth is a thermostat. Use it to cool down the situation, not to heat it up. Okay. And the last one that I want you, now this one is a good one. I want you guys to write this one down or make a note, even if you can't write right now. It is the 90-second rule, okay? According to neuroscience, emotions will pass through the body in 90 seconds. Well, what makes them linger? The story that we tell to ourselves about what happened, okay? I'll say that again. According to neuroscience, emotions will pass through your body in 90 seconds. What makes them linger is the story that we tell to ourselves about what happened. All right? We keep going, well, this happened and I can't believe it. How dare you? And you know that, why do I have to tell you the same thing? That story that we continue to tell and fester and think about over and over again, that's what makes it continue to go on. That's how we end up in those downward spirals where the whole day is messed up and the whole week. It is like, if it's not one thing, it's another, right? Those stories that we tell ourselves. So next time you experience something, tell yourself, hey, 90 seconds. I'm gonna give even if you can, pull off the phone, set a timer, 90 seconds, and I'm going to try to continue to go into this rabbit hole. Every time I notice myself going down the rabbit hole, okay, my 90 seconds has to start over. All right? A tool. Pause, breathe, and do not feed that emotion with a dramatic story. All right? Philippians 4:6, 6-7. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made unto God. And peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Easier translation, take the time to pray. If you pray, be grateful for where you are now, for whatever the situation is. Hey, you know what? I am ticked off right now, but I'm grateful that I can experience emotion, because me experiencing emotions let me know that I'm alive and well, okay? And there's some people who didn't make it. So even though I'm experiencing this intense emotion right now, I'm saying, hey, God, you know what? I thank you anyway. And I'm going to pray on behalf of the situation, on behalf of my emotions, so that I don't flip over this table, and trust that it'll work out. Things don't always work out how we expect it to work out or how we want it to work out, but it will work out the way that it needs to work out, okay? Feel it, breathe through it, and then make peace with it, okay? I have some discussion questions for you guys, but I don't know if we'll have time for it. But before I go into that, let me check out the chat and see if anybody has any questions. Any questions about what we covered so far? Raise your hand and then you can take yourself off of mute. What do you do if you're in the heat of the moment? Oh, that's a good question, Nakia. What do you do if you are in the heat of the moment and you don't necessarily know what you want the outcome to be at the time? Pause. Or if it's a situation, some things you may be able to say, hey, let's talk about this later. If that is a possibility, say, hey, let's talk about this later. Any other questions? Let me look back in here. Let's see. Awesome, Kim. I'm glad. Akia, what YouTube? You said the YouTube as well?
I was saying that, give me 1 second because my daughter's crying in the background.
Okay.
They do have it on YouTube as well if they don't have Audible.
Oh, for the book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you drop that link in the group as well? All right, any more questions, comments, concerns from anybody before we head out? All right, so what I will do is I'm gonna drop this recording in the group. It may be questions, comments, concerns that come afterwards. We'll do a brief review next week, and then we'll go into actually I think I'm gonna drop the discussion questions in the group, and then we can talk about them briefly in the intro of our call next week, and we can dive a little bit deeper. I know I did a fast skim of everything, but we can dive a little bit deeper into it. All right, but I love you guys so much. Shalina, actually log off and then come back on for me, and then we'll have our call. If you guys need anything, let me know. Drop it in the group. All right?
Okay.
Y'all have a good one. Bye, y'all.
Great day, ladies.
Bye.
Bye. Is he okay?
Recording stopped.